Hold your wigs, folks, because this right here makes the Kardashians look like they're running a daycare for mild drama. Tiny has done what no one, not even T, in his wildest nightmares thought she'd ever do. The queen of hustle. And Hart just dropped a marriage bombshell that has the internet combusting like a gas stove on a windy day. Yep, the whispers are true. Tiny's reportedly tied the knot again. And the man she's calling husband? Let's just say, he's everything T warned her about, plus interest. The internet is screaming she won, while T is somewhere, staring at motivational quotes trying to figure out what chapter of expeditious healing he's supposed to start with. This isn't your regular love triangle, this is hip-hop heartbreak served with a diamond ring and a cold plate of karma. The leaks, the photos, the silent flexes, everything about this situation screams revenge wrapped in luxury. Grab your popcorn and prepare your emojis, because this story just flipped the entire Harris legacy upside down. Tiny's new chapter isn't just a flex, it's a full-blown plot twist. And from the look of it, T might finally be learning that sometimes the real hustler was never him, it was her. Let's rewind this chaos before it broke the internet. Because Tiny's new husband reveal didn't just appear out of nowhere. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment fling or some PR stunt. Oh no, this was a chess move years in the making. You could almost hear karma whisper, "My turn." For years, T and Tiny were hip-hop's roller coaster couple, the perfect mix of love, money, and mayhem. They were the Southern Beyonce and Jay-Z. If the Carters had constant public meltdowns, reality TV arguments, and Twitter debates about who was more toxic, from red carpets to courtroom drama, the Harrises turned every headline into a soap opera, and fans were hooked. But under the glitz was exhaustion, decades of betrayal. Repair, relapse, repeat. Then came the implosion. Remember those open relationship rumors? The podcast interviews where T dropped quotes so controversial even philosophers said, "We're good." That's when Tiny started to fade from the chaos. The interviews stopped, the red carpet smiles disappeared, and the social media posts turned quiet. People thought she was retreating. She wasn't. She was rebuilding. And that's the setup no one saw coming. Flash forward to this year, a regular Tuesday turns into an emotional hurricane. Tiny posts a simple, sparkling photo, a diamond ring catching the light, her hand resting gently on a suit sleeve that clearly didn't belong to T. No tags, no captions except 3 words. Forever starts now. The internet lost its mind faster than you can say expeditiously. Within minutes, the Shade Room comments looked like a virtual family reunion of people who'd been waiting for this since 2016. Finally, the Queen has moved on. She married peace, not potential. And of course, T, somewhere writing an apology mixtape. It wasn't just gossip, it was vindication. For years, people had watched Tiny hold down the household while T collected public scandals like Pokemon cards. From messy rumors to half-hearted apologies, he always came back with charm, confidence, and a smirk that said, "She ain't going nowhere." But apparently, she did. Within hours, blurry screenshots started circulating a small, intimate ceremony somewhere in Atlanta. White flowers, candlelight, and a small group of family and friends who managed to keep the secret like it was national security. The men standing next to Tiny, tall, composed, clean-cut, definitely not from the rap world. People zoomed in, enhanced the photo, analyzed the watch, and concluded one thing. He's money. Not flash money, quiet, investment portfolio money. The kind that buys property, not attention. Bloggers went wild. Tiny marries business mogul. Mystery husband outsmarts T. The Queen finally finds her king. It was the headline trifecta: love, revenge, and luxury. Every YouTube commentator, Twitter gossip thread, and Facebook anti shared it like gospel. T, on the other hand, radio silence. Not a word, not a post, not even one of those randomly philosophical tweets he drops when he's trying to sound unbothered. The man who once lectured the world about discipline and loyalty had apparently run out of quotes. But silence, in celebrity language, is louder than a press conference. Fans knew he'd seen it, and when he finally did speak, it was through the oldest heartbreak move in the book, the cryptic story post. A black screen, white text. Never confuse loyalty with weakness. Sir, please? The internet read him like a self-help book written by someone who failed the class. Comments poured in. You mean her loyalty? Bro preaching when he should be apologizing. Karma took the mic and dropped a ring. What made this whole situation deliciously ironic was the reversal of roles. For years, T was the one in control, making public declarations about what a real man does, what a proper woman should be, how his household runs. Tiny played the background, smiling through storms and cleaning up messes behind closed doors. But now, she was the headline and T was the footnote. And that's where the story started to sting. Because according to close insiders, the kind who whisper in DMs but never name names, I found out about the wedding the same way we did, through social media. Imagine waking up, scrolling your feed, and realizing your ex-wife just became somebody else's forever. That's not heartbreak, that's emotional demolition. Apparently, he called mutual friends demanding to know if it was true. Some said yes, others said, we didn't think you'd care. Ouch. Sources claim he was blindsided not because he thought Tiny couldn't move on, but because he thought she wouldn't. That's the thing about underestimating loyalty. When it leaves, it doesn't send a memo. Meanwhile, Tiny was glowing, literally. Fans pointed out how her recent photos suddenly looked brighter, happier, freer. Gone were the cryptic quotes, the forced smiles, the we working through it energy. She looked like peace personified. One fan commented, "Sis looks like she slept for 8 years straight." Another wrote, "When you replace stress with stability, you age backwards." But it wasn't just fans noticing, it was the industry. People started quietly unfollowing Celebrities who used to double tap his posts were now posting heart emojis under Tiny's new photos. Even people who once defended him were switching sides. It was a slow, public realignment, Hollywood's version of picking teams after gym class. As for the mysterious husband, little by little, details began to leak. He wasn't an entertainer. He wasn't chasing clout. He was, according to sources, a businessman with power and patience, the kind of man who's comfortable in silence because he doesn't need validation. The complete opposite of the spotlight-addicted rapper archetype Tiny had known for decades. That quiet confidence sent the internet into a frenzy. She finally got herself a grown man, one fan tweeted. This ain't a rebound, this is redemption. But here's where it gets spicy. An old video resurfaced from years ago, on his podcast, bragging about being irreplaceable and saying, "Ain't no man gonna love Tiny like I do." That clip aged like unrefrigerated milk. The quote started trending again, but this time with captions like, "Plot twist, she found one who loves her better." Memes rolled in faster than Karma's receipts. One showed T looking confused with the caption, "When you realize she actually meant it when she said she was done." Another said, "Tiny didn't move on, she graduated. The jokes wrote themselves. By the end of the day, hashtag Tiny married started trending, followed by hashtag Karma for tip. Twitter became a digital cookout, laughter, cheers, confessions, and a few think pieces about women finally reclaiming their peace. But beyond the laughs and gossip, there was a deeper message. This wasn't just about love. It was about liberation. Tiny's move wasn't petty, it was poetic. She didn't announce it, brag about it, or shade anyone. She just lived. And that silence? It screamed louder than T's entire discography. Because when a woman like Tiny, loyal to a fault, patient through chaos, finally chooses peace, it's not an impulsive decision. It's years of lessons condensed into one moment of clarity. And that's the real sting for It wasn't losing her to another man. It was realizing she found herself without him. By sunset, every platform from gossip channels to daytime talk shows was dissecting the situation. How long has she been seeing him? Was there overlap? What's T's reaction? But the truth didn't matter anymore. The message was clear. Tiny had rewritten her story, and T was no longer the author. It's wild how tables turn. 1 minute, you're the headline. The next, you're the plot twist. And somewhere out there, T is probably realizing that Karma's pen never runs out of ink. By the time the sun rose the next morning, the internet was already in flames. Tiny's secret wedding had gone from quiet luxury to global spectacle overnight. You couldn't scroll 2 inches without seeing her name trending next to T's. Every meme page, gossip blog, and shady YouTube channel was milking this like it was the Super Bowl of karma. The first blast came from the Shade Room, where the top comment read, "She said forever starts now and meant expeditiously exit my life." Within minutes, thousands of women flooded the post with clapping emojis, hard eyes, and phrases like, "We told you, sis," and "She's living our collective dream." It was a digital standing ovation for Tiny's glow-up. Then came the celeb reactions and oh, it was petty perfection. Tamara Braxton slid in with a comment that said, "Peace looks good on you, boo," and fans lost it. Candy Boris liked 3 different posts and wrote, "Love always finds who deserves it." Even Toya Johnson dropped a champagne bottle emoji, while 50 Cent, the self-appointed drama referee of the internet, posted a meme saying, "T said he runs his household. Tiny said she runs a marriage license." The man has never missed a chance to throw lighter fluid on gossip, and this time, he turned it into a bonfire. And while everyone was celebrating Tiny's happily ever after, the camera turned slowly, deliciously to T. His silence was deafening. The rapper who had an opinion on everything politics, parenting, proper womanhood suddenly had no comment. None. Not even a God bless her. That's how you know it's real pain. But you can't hide from the internet. Because when T finally went live, pretending to talk about life lessons and evolving as a man, fans hijacked the chat like digital bandits. "Sir, we're not here for your TED Talk. We're here for your tears. Expeditiously explain your L. Blink twice if you miss Tiny." You could literally see the frustration bubbling beneath his sunglasses. He was trying to act calm, sipping his drink, dropping big words like fortitude and perspicacity, but the comments were chewing him up like expired gum. One viewer wrote, "He's using vocabulary to distract himself from heartbreak." Another said, "He just downloaded Duolingo to cope." And just when the internet thought it couldn't get messier, the leak happened. Someone posted a video clip of Tiny and her new husband leaving a private dinner in Atlanta. No paparazzi, no glam squad, just 2 people walking, laughing, holding hands. Genuine peace caught in 15 seconds of blurry footage. But that's all it took. Fans zoomed in, enhanced the lighting, and went CSI mode. "He's tall. Look at how he holds her hand. That's I got you energy." The clip hit 5 million views in 24 hours. Underneath, the comments look like a group therapy session for women who'd outgrown their own TS. "She finally got the peace she prayed for. He treats her like she's the prize, not the project." Some men bring peace. Others bring press conferences. It wasn't just a video anymore, it was symbolism. Meanwhile, the industry was gossiping harder than a salon on Saturday. People started noticing that T wasn't being invited to as many events. Some producers unfollowed him. A few podcasts even canceled scheduled appearances. The narrative had shifted from legendary rapper and family man to bitter ex stuck in the past. Then came the memes. The brutal, world-class, award-winning memes. A photo of T holding a microphone. "This you?" Talking about women needing direction. Another of Tiny smiling in her wedding dress. She found direction. All right, straight to happiness. A remixed clip of T's old hit Whatever You Like with new lyrics edited in. She can have whatever he's like. The internet didn't just roast him. They slow-cooked him over a karmic flame. Even celebrities outside hip-hop started chiming in. Lala Anthony posted a story that said, "Peace pressure." Megan Good commented, "When you glow, you grow." And Nick Cannon, yes, the man with 12 children, couldn't resist posting, "See, I told y'all women run the game." It was officially a pop culture feeding frenzy. But the wildest twist came from an old friend of the couple, a close source who claimed that Tiny had tried to have a private conversation with T before the wedding, but he didn't take her seriously. Allegedly, she told him, "I'm moving on with my life." And he replied, "You'll be back. You always come back." Phew, that one aged like milk in the Sahara. Because now, the only thing coming back is the karma she left behind. And as if that wasn't enough humiliation, a reporter caught up with T outside an Atlanta lounge, asking about the wedding. His response? "Ain't no hard feelings. Everybody deserves happiness. Translation: I'm dying inside. But please stop recording. The video was reposted everywhere with captions like, "He said it like a man holding back tears and regret." Fans turned it into memes. Some added slow music, others added fake sad violin edits. One comment said, "That's the sound of a man realizing peace doesn't live at his address anymore." Meanwhile, Tiny stayed silent. No clapbacks, no interviews, no shade, just peace. And that silence was her power. Every photo she posted a smile, a hand on her new husband's chest. A caption like "grateful for real love" went viral without her saying a word. That's when you know the tables have fully turned. For the first time, T wasn't the headline, he was the punchline. Fans started digging up old clips where he talked about training his women, checking behavior, and being the man of the house. Those same quotes came back like ghosts haunting his ego. One viral post said, "T thought he was teaching Tiny lessons. Turns out, she was just taking notes." Another said, "He wrote the book on control, and she wrote the sequel, Peace Without Permission." Every time he tried to drop a motivational quote, someone quote tweeted it with, "She married a man who doesn't need subtitles to be understood." The internet was on fire and no extinguisher could put it out. By week's end, #Tiny1 trended for 2 days straight. People were making TikToks celebrating her new chapter, using clips of her performing old Escape songs with captions like, "She finally understood who she was singing to herself." Influencers made think pieces about women reclaiming their peace after public pain. Even men started using the story as a "don't fumble your woman" warning sign. But the icing on the cake? Tiny's ex's entire brand, the alpha male, philosopher king persona, began to crumble. People weren't buying it anymore. Those long-winded speeches that once made him sound wise now made him sound wounded. The man who once preached about loyalty now looked like a walking contradiction, and you could feel it, that collective shift. The energy had moved. Tiny wasn't chasing validation anymore. Validation was chasing her. Every time she smiled, it went viral. Every time he spoke, it backfired. It wasn't just a relationship ending, it was a cultural reckoning. Tiny's marriage reveal became more than tea. It became a movement. Proof that silence hits harder than any diss track, that peace is louder than ego, and that karma always delivers right on schedule, no delays, no refunds. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just a breakup. This was the ultimate rebrand. Tiny turned her pain into power. And T? Well, he turned his vocabulary into coping mechanisms. And somewhere deep in Atlanta, you can almost hear him whispering the one word that hurts more than anything else: damn. And now, welcome to the aftermath. The dust may have settled, but the emotional aftershocks, they're still rumbling through Atlanta like a 7.0 on the karma scale. Because Tiny's shocking marriage reveal didn't just make headlines, it cracked the entire image T spent decades building. This wasn't heartbreak. This was humility served on platinum plates. Let's start with the obvious. T has gone quiet. And not his usual "I'm meditating on my vocabulary" kind of quiet, I mean soul-searching silence. The man who once ran his mouth faster than Twitter trends suddenly found himself ghosted by the same public that used to crown him the king of the South. His podcast slowed down. His brand deals went cold. And even his motivational quotes started getting clown emojis. Because here's the thing, the world finally saw through the act. For years, T projected the image of the wise, alpha patriarch, the man with all the answers, the one who lectured the culture on love, loyalty, and handling your woman. But now, that script has flipped harder than a reality TV reunion. The same fans who once applauded his expeditious wisdom were now dragging him with comments like, "Maybe if you spent less time defining women and more time respecting them, she wouldn't have upgraded." And the irony? Tiny didn't have to say a single word. She didn't post a diss track. She didn't sit down for an emotional interview. She just lived. Her peace was louder than any public apology. Every photo of her glowing face became a meme, every smile a sermon. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. When you stop fighting for your spot in someone's chaos, peace starts fighting for you. Meanwhile, the industry's temperature toward T dropped fast. Promoters started booking other names. Younger rappers stopped referencing him as a mentor. Even the expeditious memes once funny now felt like shade. His own fanbase began treating him like that uncle who gives advice he clearly doesn't follow. The man's credibility didn't just take a hit, it took a vacation. And then came the interviews. Oh, the interviews. You could feel the desperation leaking through the screen. On one podcast, when asked how he felt about Tiny's marriage, he gave a half smile and said, "If she happy, I'm happy." But his eyes, those eyes looked like someone just repossessed his peace of mind. Fans were ruthless in the comments. "Sir, that's the face of a man who realized he's not the final chapter." He said, "I'm happy like a man who just watched his ex win the lottery." Another viral caption read, "This ain't happiness. This is heartbreak in cursive." And while T was out here pretending to focus on growth, Tiny was busy trending for all the right reasons. Her new husband wasn't a rapper, wasn't an athlete, wasn't even chasing fame. He was stability with a face card that never declines. Whenever he appeared in public, fans dubbed him Mr. Upgrade, a quiet, confident man who smiled at her like she was the entire reason sunlight existed. The internet couldn't get enough. Women started using Tiny's story as their new blueprint from chaos to calm. From pain to power, TikToks popped up everywhere with captions like, "If Tiny can do it, so can I." Even Hollywood started talking. A-list couples praised her strength. Talk show hosts called it a masterclass in reclaiming your narrative. And the part that hit hardest, Tiny didn't flaunt the ring, the wedding, or the man. She flaunted peace. That alone turned her from T.E.'s ex into a full-blown cultural icon. But don't get it twisted, karma wasn't done with T. Yet, old clips began resurfacing. Interviews where he talked about being the head of his household, or that time he bragged about checking Tiny's choices. Suddenly, those clips aged like unrefrigerated milk. They went from wise and protective to controlling and condescending overnight. And the internet? They never forget. One viral thread titled T.E.'s Greatest Hits. The misogyny edition started trending. It compiled every outdated quote he ever said about women back to back with Tiny's wedding photos playing softly in the background. That thread had over 1 million views in less than a day. Even his peers started distancing themselves. Artists who once praised him began using past tense. T was a legend. One younger rapper said, "Bro, still talking like it's 2005. Times changed. The fall from grace wasn't loud, it was quiet, slow, painful, and deserved." But the real heartbreak moment? That came during a live performance. T was on stage performing Whatever You Like, and midway through, the crowd started chanting Tiny's name. Over the beat, over the lyrics. It was brutal. You could see it on his face that split second of, "Oh, it's really over." He stopped, smiled awkwardly, and said, "You're petty, man." The clip went viral before he even left the stage. The top comment? "Bro sang about whatever you like." And she took it literally. From that point forward, every move he made looked like damage control. He started posting family pics, old clips of him and Tiny from Family Hustle, and captions like "No love lost." But fans weren't buying it. One user wrote, "He's reminiscing like she died. Sir, she just got married." Another said, "This man treating her piece like a plot twist." But here's the thing about karma, it's not cruel, it's balanced. And in this story, balance finally found its way home. Because for the first time in her career, Tiny wasn't being defined by who she was married to. She wasn't T.E.'s wife anymore. She was Tiny mother, mogul, legend. And now, the woman who turned pain into poetry. Every headline, every trending topic, every meme was proof that peace hits different when you've earned it. Fans celebrated her like she just won a Grammy for emotional resilience. Women were tagging their friends saying, "This is the energy we're manifesting next year." Even men, the few brave ones, admitted he lost a real one. And for T, well, he became a walking cautionary tale. Not the villain, not the victim, just a reminder that no matter how powerful you think you are, no heart is immune to consequences. Because when love gets taken for granted long enough, it doesn't die, it evolves. It moves into a new house, changes its last name, and starts living rent-free in your regrets.so as the internet crowned Tiny the queen of quiet revenge. T sat in his mansion, surrounded by trophies and memories that suddenly didn't mean much. The empire he built on ego had crumbled, and all that was left was the echo of a woman's laughter he'd once tried to control. Tiny didn't just move on, she moved up. She went from standing behind a man who preached loyalty to standing beside one who practices it. From ride or die to peace and fly. From forever complicated to finally free. And if you listen closely, somewhere in Atlanta, you can almost hear Karma whisper again, soft, smug, and satisfied, expeditiously delivered. And there you have it, the story that flipped hip-hop history, shattered egos, and redefined revenge without saying a single word. Tiny didn't need a headline, a diss track, or a tell-all interview. All she needed was peace, a ring, and a man who doesn't confuse dominance with devotion. Meanwhile, T is out here writing essays about growth, while the internet's writing obituaries for his pride. This wasn't just a breakup, it was the reboot of Karma itself. Tiny turned her silence into a soundtrack and her pain into a press release for self-worth. She proved you don't need to clap back when life does it louder for you. And honestly, the Kardashians could never. So go ahead, smash that like button like T. Smash the delete button on old pictures. Drop a comment below and tell me, was this the greatest glow-up of the decade or the most poetic downfall in hip-hop history? Be honest, if Karma had a theme song, whose verse would you skip? And if you're new here, welcome to Fame Flaws, the home of beautiful disasters, celebrity meltdowns, and real-life plot twists that make Netflix jealous. We don't spill tea, we pour the entire pot. Boil it, and serve it with a side of shade. Hit that subscribe button expeditiously, because the next scandal, oh, it's already brewing, and when it drops, you'll want front row seats. This is Fame Flaws, where fame fades, truth leaks, and karma always keeps receipts. Stay tuned because the next jaw dropper might make this one look like a warm-up.